Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we're going to be taking a good look at everyone's favorite stablecoin, ADA. Right now, jokes aside, we are going to be taking a look at four things. Number one, why the price action has kind of, stagnated. Number two, under what kind of circumstances does ADA tend to break out and establish a higher support, right? Thirdly, whether there's any kind of bullish fundamental news coming up that might be enough to wake ADA up from its current slumber. And number four, what's the best approach to ADA in general, whether you're an investor or a trader? All right, if this sounds interesting to you, I'd really appreciate your support by hitting that like and subscribe button to help me grow this channel. All right, let's dig in. Okie dokie. Now, generally, the ADA prices tend to go up in a stepwise fashion, historically speaking, right? With long periods of accumulation punctured by short and sharp pumps, right? That are often caused by important network upgrades or hard forks. Now, if we go back a couple of years, we note that the price of ADA was range bound between 2 and 10 cents, right? For a couple of years as the development team worked hard to set up the foundations of the Cardano network. So this was known as the Byron era of Cardano, setting up the foundations. And then the next era was the Shelley era, which decentralized the network and introduced staking, which was a major update. Now, if we look at this update, right, the Shelley hard fork, this was the catalyst that finally pushed the ADA prices above a multi-year long resistance at 10 cents, right? Roughly 10 cents here. Now, after the mainnet launch, we saw a pretty steep correction, right? 17 cents all the way back down to a new but higher accumulation zone of around 10 cents. And you see, this is generally how the ADA price action works, like a lot of other good projects, right? You have an accumulation zone, a rather big rally, a correction, and then a higher accumulation zone. This is actually a great macro structure for traders and investors alike. Now let's take a look at ADA's more recent price history in 2021, right? So in quarter one, the crypto bull market was in full swing, which carried the ADA prices to around 30 cents, where it stabilized in a new accumulation zone. It was a great time to buy, right? And then we had the Mary hard fork, right? This was a major upgrade that will allow users to deploy their own token on the Cardano blockchain, right? This is very important. Just like how there are thousands of ERC20 tokens on the Ethereum blockchain, well, after the Mary hard fork, right, it was going to be possible to have different tokens deployed on the Cardano blockchain, right? Very bullish and very, very integral for DeFi use. Now, being a major upgrade, the ADA prices jumped over 200%, right? 200 and roughly 50%. From around 45 cents back down here to over $1.50 before a mainnet correction, right? So again, buy the rumor, sell the news kind of event, or buy the testnet, sell the mainnet. And again, just like the Shelley hard fork, right? We started at a lower accumulation zone. We then had a big testnet rally and then a big mainnet correction, and then followed by a new and a higher accumulation zone, a very familiar pattern, right? Now, in fact, we were in this new accumulation zone between $1 and $1.50 for months before ADA prices broke out in May. Now, this was around the time that Bitcoin broke all-time highs of around $65,000 before the huge liquidation cascade, right, that sent it back down to 28K. Right, not very good times, and ADA fell back into this accumulation zone again. So ultimately, ADA dilly-dallied, right, between $1 and $1.50 for about 5 to 6 months. But soon enough, hey, we had a new leg up, right? The next major Cardano upgrade, the Alonzo hard fork, which introduced smart contracts, was upon us, finally giving Cardano the full technical infrastructure that it needs to compete with Ethereum. Just to summarize, Shelley hard fork, decentralized network and staking. Mary hard fork, multi-token support, right? Alonzo hard fork, smart contracts. All of this together meant that Cardano would finally be ready for DeFi, just like Ethereum, just like the Binance Smart Chain, just like Avalanche, just like Polygon. Now, for the Alonzo hard fork, right, between the testnet deployment and the mainnet launch, prices jumped roughly 130 to 140%, $1.35 all the way up to a peak of around $3.20. I actually think it would have gone a little bit higher, maybe even $4, had Bitcoin not had its El Salvador correction, right, around this time, around September the 7th. But again, we have a familiar step-like structure, right? We started off at a lower accumulation zone, followed by a big testnet rally, followed by a big mainnet correction, and then we got a new and higher accumulation zone. Right, so armed with this knowledge of ADA's macro price action structure, this stepwise structure here, how should you approach ADA as a trader and an investor? Well, if you're a long-term investor who just wants to accumulate more ADA and perhaps stake it, it doesn't really matter, right? Just dollar cost average over time, especially during the accumulation zones, right? ADA is a good project whose price and adoption is continued to increase over time, just hodl. Now, I have dedicated videos on how to stake ADA across a variety of different platforms and wallets, Daedalus, Yoroi, Binance, eToro, and so forth. I'll link that down below. It's a great watch for those wanting to earn some passive income on their ADA. Okay, so what if you're more of a swing trader, right? Well, then it's a good idea to rotate profits from other altcoins that had been pumping, right, into ADA during one of these accumulation phases, right? For example, around here, other competing layer ones, quality layer ones like Avalanche, Polkadot, Solana, they were running hot. And a lot of smart money were rotating profits into ADA to get ahead of the next pump. Now, the only problem is ADA could be doing its stablecoin thing for a while, right? But by positioning yourself in early and accumulating, right, you're getting in, as I would like to call it, one step ahead of the trend, right? If you wait until the pump begins, for example, around here or around here, back in the Alonzo and Mary hard fork days, then you're already one step behind. And if you FOMO in at the top, like many retail traders do, then you're actually 2 steps behind because you joined just as the smart money who got in down the bottom here, right, and here, are now leaving ADA up here and here, right? They're rotating their profits elsewhere. You don't want to be that person that just arrived as others are already leaving the party for the next big thing, right? Now, I have a whole video on being ahead of the trend and not getting caught 2 steps behind, right? I'll link that down below. It's a great watch, especially if you find yourself losing money swing trading crypto. Now, the worst thing I see traders do is they get impatient, they pull their money out of their ADA position during an accumulation zone when it's actually the best time to buy, right? They pull out because they get impatient and they put it into something like, say, Shiba Inu, that's already up 500 to 1,000%. They've been caught by the FOMO bug. Now, if you do this, you've just rotated your money out of a high probability trade, which is essentially an undervalued ADA, into a low probability trade, right? Which is a meme coin experiencing a reversal after a huge rally, right? You just went from being 1 step ahead of the trend in ADA to being 2 steps behind in SHIB. The right way to have played this, you have to do exactly the reverse, the opposite, right? You want to join in on ADA down here during its accumulation, you ride the way up, you take profits, and then you put it into SHIB when it's down here in its own accumulation zone. That's the recipe for buying low and selling high. All right, finally, I want to take a quick look at the ADA ETH valuation, right? So Ethereum, right, that's the de facto smart contracts leader. It also serves as kind of like a confidence index for the entire altcoin space, right? So it makes a lot of sense, especially to compare up and coming layer ones, quality layer ones like Cardano, Polkadot, Avalanche, Solana, and so forth against ETH. Now, what we find is that recently, right, so 2021, the ADA price tend to oscillate around Ethereum, kind of like a zigzag like this. And we find that during major upgrades, right, such as the Mary hard fork, such as the Alonzo hard fork, the ADA prices appreciate drastically against Ethereum before correcting, right? Drastic appreciation against ETH before correcting. So the best time to buy ADA, right, or perhaps rotate profits from Ethereum into ADA, right, it's down here. Places and times like here, here, and here, where ADA effectively hits rock bottom against Ethereum. All right, so in summary, Cardano hard forks are major events for ADA price action, right? So from the time the upgrade is deployed on the testnet to when the mainnet launch actually happens, ADA prices tend to explode. In fact, for the Mary hard fork, the ADA prices were pumping hard even as Bitcoin was actually correcting around here, right? One of the rare events in the crypto market where a moody Bitcoin doesn't end up ruining the parade. At the same time, not financial advice, but it's probably a good idea to take some profits near a mainnet launch, right? So around here, as historically, the ADA price tends to almost always correct after the mainnet launch, right? But hey, if you're a long-term investor, don't worry too much, right? Just dollar cost average in. Cardano, again, is a great long-term project. Now, speaking of long-term, Cardano is working on a range of things right now, just like they have been for the last 4 years, right? And so that currently includes decentralized exchanges, right? Now, there's actually several DEXs in the pipeline competing with each other, right? So that includes Sunday Swap here, working in progress as we can see. It also includes others like ErgoDAX, CarDAX, and so forth. At the moment, there's no clear winner in the DEX space, right? Unlike Uniswap on Ethereum, the largest decentralized exchange there by far, or PancakeSwap on the Binance Smart Chain. All right, number 2, bridges that will allow Ethereum smart contracts to easily bridge across to Cardano. Now, this is very important for mass adoption of the Cardano blockchain, as they are unfortunately years behind when it comes to time to market, right? Ethereum's had smart contracts since 2015, right? It's been 6 years. And finally, we have further network updates on the way, of course, because keep in mind we are only in the 3rd era of Cardano's 5-era development roadmap, right? So Cardano is working hard at the moment on scaling solutions and governance. Now, the scaling solution is called Hydra, which in theory permits up to 1 million transactions per second, right? Basically, it's scaling each node up 1,000-fold, and Cardano is aiming for a roughly 1,000 node saturation, so that's 1 million transactions per second. That's something like 15 times faster than Visa's global network. So you can see there's lots of stuff coming on the way, right? Any of these, including general bullish sentiment in the crypto space, could be the cause of ADA's next leg up. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you found this video useful. If you did, I'd really appreciate a like and a sub to help me grow this channel. Have a great day or evening wherever you are, and I hope to see you in the next one.